Welcome back to Morning Barakah. You are watching exclusively live on Imam Hussein TV 3. Now, the number of children in home education has soared by 60% since before the COVID-19 pandemic, with thousands more pupils removed from school in the past year alone. Parents who homeschool say they've been forced to take their children out of school because of health concerns, unmet special education needs, or in response to pressure from social equality lobbyists forcing a certain agenda into the school curriculum. Now, in a survey of 4,500 respondents by Parliament's Petitions Committee found that nearly all, 97%, said standards of education were a very or moderately important factor in their decision to home educate. Likewise, 89% said their children's or their child's mental health was an important factor, while 40% said one or more of the children they homeschooled had autism or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, otherwise known as ADHD. This is all national statistics in the UK. But for Muslims, however, the driving factor could be totally different. So joining me online, surprise, surprise, online, is teacher at Jaffaria Academy, Nikhat Panjwani. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Sister Nikhat. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on to the show. So first and foremost, Jaffaria Academy, I personally heard a lot of fantastic things about them. But could you tell me, I guess very, very quickly, a synopsis of Jaffaria Academy, when they were established, their aims, etc., so that we can benefit from that?
Right. Okay. So Jaffaria Academy obviously is an online school, as you know.
Yeah.
And it was founded by community members looking for an alternate to the mainstream school challenges, as you just rightly mentioned today. And it also seeks to optimize homeschooling. So as parents want to homeschool their children, it is increasingly demanding on them. And if you can have an online school where they can let their children go, but they are in school, then how good can that be? So it's gradually making it a mainstream option, basically,
Right.
the homeschooling. And also it was during the COVID, of course, when the idea of Zoom started floating around.
Yeah.
So it was aimed at actually solving the lockdown problem, but it was also aimed at the homeschooling community, which needed somewhere for them to go and study together, but be at school. So trying to make it a mainstream, but it's a homeschooling kind of model.
Right. So, I don't want to diverge away from the homeschooling situation, but I think one of the benefits alongside what you've mentioned is that people are able to do the homeschooling option abroad. So in your, in the school, do you currently have students who are only in London, or are they international?
No, we have over 10 from 10 different countries. And it's
Wow.
really amazing because we can share about the climate there, what's happening in their part of the world. So they're all over the country. They're all over the world. So about 10 plus. So we have from Kuwait, from Morocco, from Africa, Iraq, Iran, and many others as well. So it's kind of a very beautiful way. And it benefits from being free from the shackles of a school building. So you
Yeah.
can be anywhere, just a click away, and you're
Yeah.
into the classroom. And it has really been a game changer for people who have been relocated from UK and they want to still follow the UK curriculum in a way, and get to like-minded people. So it's really, really good. And you can even have an extended vacation if you want, but you can
Yeah.
log in from a place where it's not in the UK. So
Next
it's
to the beach.
really quite cool, actually.
So what about, I think, one of the concerns about homeschooling is the potential impact on the students' socialization and emotional development, given the reduced kind of face-to-face interactions compared to the traditional bricks and mortar schools. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah. So you know what? Just before I came on, I had a lesson. So I was asking the students. So one of the girls actually said that when I went to a bricks and mortar school, I came by crying every day. I didn't socialize. I just came home. I did my homework. I went to sleep. I was miserable because nobody actually talked to me. They were bullying me. I'm more sociable now because I can talk to my friends and I have more time to be social outside.
Yeah.
So I think it's a myth that we cannot be social if you're online, because really you can have lots of social activities. So a lot of students have, in fact, the students who are in Africa have more social life than I do, because they get together with their friends, they play football, they go to the gymkhana, they go to the mosque.
Yeah.
So yes, I understand that, being face to face in a brick and mortar school would give you interaction with others. But in Jaffaria Academy, once a year we have a ziyarat trip, which is so amazing. So all the students can get together. You can meet. It's like a big family getting together. Every term we have a Jaffrey Academy social where they can come together and talk, play games, eat
Yeah.
together. We have community WhatsApp groups in the area that they're living, so they can get together if they want to. You can build friendship, like everlasting friendship, because there are some girls who came into our school but they left later on, and some of our girls are still friends with them. They meet up with them and things. And the
Yeah.
other great thing about Zoom is you have breakout rooms,
Yeah.
and I like to put them in breakout rooms so they do teamwork. They get to know each other. And I know sometimes they're chatting about things outside work, but that's perfectly okay, because as long as they're getting on with it. So I
Yeah.
feel, although they're not face to face, they're getting some kind of social interaction. Definitely, we have
That
jokes, we share experiences. I mean,
yeah.
I know I taught in a mainstream school, and it's all about taking sausages out from the school. Do this, and you've got to have assessments, you've got to do this. But here it's like really friendly, and we have a very nice rapport with the students as well. I
Right.
mean, they can socialize with me. We joke around.
Sis
I
Nikhat,
Yeah, sorry.
if I may, no, if I may, because
Yeah.
one thing that you mentioned earlier in your response is that some of the students feel a bit more comfortable to express themselves whilst they're in the comfort of their own homes.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
isn't that counterproductive? Again, this is not me saying, but this is what I've read in terms of
Yeah.
when they do go out into the real world. Although we don't really know what the real world is going to look like later on, because even
Yeah,
now companies are they're deploying a work from home situation. So
absolutely.
how much socializing do they have to have? But most of the people, the majority of people, actually go outside and they go to their offices, or they go to their universities. So how does that work with them, especially from a mentality perspective? The child who is very comfortable at home. How do you help them to transition into the outside world?
Children are really resilient. You throw them
Yeah,
anywhere, they will swim. So I did my master's online. I never even saw my professor or teacher who was teaching. It was
yeah,
all online. Listen to the podcast, you do the work, you have a
yeah,
community where you type in. So things are changing in a way.
yeah.
And there is research comparing students' experience and learning in these two modalities, and doesn't say
Okay.
that some students can actually not be confident. So where Jaffrey Academy is concerned, they are always presenting things. So they're given a chance to be able to come up and speak. And I see what you mean, that you are comfortable in your comfort zone, but inshallah they will go out into universities, and once the grounding is there, where they've felt confident in themselves, they haven't had the trauma of being bullied and things, they can build their confidence in there. I don't feel that just because they're not out there in the world where animals can bite, they don't become resilient. They do become resilient in the end. And
Yeah,
ultimately we do have to go out to work, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given children such a beautiful way to sort of adapt to the environment so beautifully.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't think that it could be detrimental to their life going ahead. So
yeah,
the real world is now changing. So when we
yeah.
say the word real world, I don't know what the real world is going to be like there with AI and things like that. You've got to be able to do all those things that, in fact,
Absolutely right.
we have some amazing platforms on the online school, like Century and Cambridge, which gives them confidence that they're good at something.
Yeah. Absolutely. Look, I mean, one of the things that you mentioned, and it struck me as well, is that if they are having this homeschooling situation, how important, and I know that we probably didn't prepare for this, but it just came to mind, how important are mosques, Husseinias, Imam Bargas, for them to be able to receive that physical nourishment, and a sense of community, a sense of belonging?
Absolutely. I definitely agree. So the madrasa, the mimbar, the mosque, everything is kind of interrelated, right, for us.
Yeah,
So it takes a whole community to raise a child, they say. So
absolutely.
it is really, really important. And I think that's where sometimes I see some students who have got a very good mosque facility, and they go to the mosque every now and again. And one of them was telling me that he was giving a speech on Fadak, and he made some kind of a mosque. And so they do things in the mosque. It obviously augments the learning that they do in school,
Yeah,
and also have friendship built within the Islamic, or shall I say Shia environment. So I think it's
yeah,
a really, really important thing.
yeah,
And I always encourage, when I have parents evening, encourage the parents to take them to the local mosque, whatever
yeah,
the whatever facilities they have. At least go there and join in the programs there. And some
yeah.
of the students even serve in the mosques, so they do things that, like serve the dinner or clear up and things like, which is so, so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, just in terms of the Jaffaria Academy themselves, I know that, from my research, that I'm not sure if you used to have it, still have it, but a Friday session where people actually meet together. Is that still the case?
Yes, so I did say that we have Joffrey Academy socials.
Yes.
So we meet together in London in a place, and of course they have a day, they have games, and they have nasheeds,
Right.
and they have their chance to meet each other. We have
Yeah.
the Ziyarat trip as well, which is, and we used to have the sports hub on a Friday, which was really, really good. Unfortunately, because lots of students are from all over the world, it becomes difficult to sort of get together in a central place like London.
Yeah.
However, it used to be really good, and hopefully we will revive that. And some boys still play some sports with a local group in on a Sunday, I believe. The girls one is just on a hold at the moment, and who knows? Perhaps maybe we can restart that, because I've been to some of the sports hubs and I played with them netball and badminton. It was really
Yeah.
amazing to be together and play with them. I mean, which
Yeah.
teacher does come and play with you netball and have a like a little bit of a fun time, right?
Are
So.
you are you GS? Is it goal shooter?
No, I am not GS.
What
I
position
just
do you
would play
play?
on a wing attack, maybe.
Is that because I remember when I was young in primary school, there was different positions in netball.
Yes, yes,
Left
absolutely.
something, right. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, Sister Nikhat, that's the social activities, which is fantastic. It's great to hear. A lot of people do have concerns about the level of education compared to the traditional schools. What can you say about that?
You know what? We have all PGC trained qualified teachers. There's nobody who's non qualified. So obviously they're all trained. And you won't believe that when I teach online, I take more effort towards planning my lesson, because I know they need certain things. So I don't think there is any compromise on the learning, because we have an amazing platform. They can message me whenever they want. We've got the Cambridge International Books there. We've got a beautiful platform called Century, where they can do maths and science, and English, and they can progress towards stages. So there is a lot of autonomy in their learning as well, which is so beautiful, because they can go and access all these online platforms and even learn for themselves. We have parent teachers meetings as normal. In fact, we have more than one a year, where if they have any concerns, they can discuss with the teacher. There's open lines of communication as well. So every day I get messages. So I've got a little message thing on my platform where I get messages from students. If they can't understand, they don't know what homework they want to do, they can message me. So there is open lines of communication. We welcome feedback. And I think the online platform is great, because like I told you, that today I was asking some of the students, and they said their level of learning and their level of grades has increased as they've come into online school.
Yeah.
Because when they are in a big massive 30 classroom school, sometimes they can be sort of on the back seat and not be helped to move up a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas on the online school, small classes, I know exactly who's doing what. I'm marking their work as they go along. So I
Yeah.
don't think they are compromised on academic
Right.
learning.
So just the last question before the break. Universities, colleges, do they look down at homeschooling students, or is it all level playing field?
So I don't think they look at anything but their but their grades.
But their grades, yeah, I know, yeah, of course.
So that's a reality of things. So they don't look at their heart or their character, but they just look at their grades. And grades are, we can comfortably say that yes, we try to get them the best grades, and every time my students are falling short of their grades, I show them how to move up to that grades. So inshallah, I don't think they will be any different from the students that go on to a normal school. So grades I will keep up to the same grades, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Sister Nikhat, we're going to take a very, very small break.
Yes.
But when we come back, inshallah, we'll talk more about the benefits of online or home schooling. So we'll see you in a bit.
Sure.
Welcome back to Morning Barakah. If you've just joined us, we are joined online by Sister Nikhat Panjwani, who's a teacher at Jaffaria School or Jaffaria Academy, an online school specifically designed for homeschooling. Sister Nikhat, are you still there? Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, alaikum salam. My hands to you.
I really admire your passion and energy, Sister Nikhat, and I'm sure that students love you. I have no doubt about that. However, in the absence of physical classrooms, how can yourself and the online school Jaffaria Academy ensure a meaningful teacher-student interaction, especially more of a personalized learning experience? I know you mentioned something quite briefly, but could you expand on that, please?
Yes, so obviously we have huge discussions because we've got a small class. We are able to discuss more. We're able to look at each person's work a bit more and give feedback towards increasing their understanding and learning. So I think the interaction between teacher and student is absolutely brilliant. And I think I'm more of a mom than a teacher for them as well. So anytime they have a little bit of a problem or something they want to discuss, they are welcome to talk about it as well. So I don't think any learning is compromised in that sense. And
Yeah.
in fact, I think teacher-student interaction is better online than in school, because in school, half the time the teachers are managing behavior rather. Here,
Yeah.
I can just mute them. Astaghfirullah.
That's brilliant. So you can just mute them if they're misbehaving.
Well, they don't misbehave.
No,
But
of course, of
if
course.
they love to talk, so if they love to talk, if I need to calm them down, I can mute them.
So what advice then do you have for parents? Because parents feel like, from a parent perspective, they feel like I'm sending my child off to school. I've got peace and quiet for 6 hours, and then they come back to me. How would what steps could parents take if they do want to homeschool in order to get their peace and quiet as well at the same time? Because they're in the face of these kids for literally 24/7 then.
Yeah, but that's what they've chosen to have, children, right? And it
Yeah.
always comes with responsibilities, right? Um,
Right.
so it's what you want your child to grow up to be, I think.
Yeah.
What your ethos is, where you want to take that child's learning as well. So sometimes we have to make sacrifices, and I think they do get peace and quiet. Because they are in a virtual classroom, so they have we emphasize that they stay in a room with their laptop in a quiet place. So in fact, some of the moms are so happy. They, when I meet them, they say, "Oh, we loved listening to you about the discussion that you were taking about the tsunami or whatever." So I don't think that their time will be compromised, unless, of course, they're working outside the home environment. But if you're at home, you could still get that peace and quiet. Of course, you would probably have to make lunch and
Yeah.
and snacks for them, because every lesson we have 15 minutes break to give them, and to move around. And I always encourage them to go up and down or to do some exercises. So I think it really depends what you want from your life and from how you want to bring up your children, really.
So, Sister Nikhat, you've seen an increase in registrations over the last couple of years.
Yes,
If you
yes.
can name the top 2 or 3 reasons why parents have chosen online schooling.
So obviously, one of them is, like you mentioned, what is out there in in the society, which is being taught in schools.
Yeah.
Also, when you have special needs, you want somebody to be able to care for them a bit more than what is happening in the mainstream schools.
Yeah.
You also want an Islamic environment and character building within a school, because school is not all about, just, pouring into the students. It's about planting into the students, about nurturing the students. It's tarbiyah. It's not just about knowledge today we can get by Google Shake as well, right? You just type it and you can get it. So it's something, a holistic learning that they're looking for. And also on a Friday we have a Friday enrichment where they're taught the tarbiyah syllabus of the NCE. So
Okay.
you're getting a holistic learning. So, and Arabic, that's one thing. A lot of students are coming in because we do GCSE
Yes.
Arabic, which is such a great thing, because you don't get that in a mainstream school.
You
So these
don't.
are some of the reasons as well. And we also have lots of after school clubs, like we had digital art, we even had taekwondo, so it doesn't stop them from doing other clubs as well.
Yeah.
And quite often when we have Friday assemblies, we bring Jaffaria and Inspires, so we bring professionals to the students to be able to see what out there, the real work that our Muslims are doing, mashallah. So I think those are some of the reasons why we are seeing an increase in students coming up with the RSE syllabus as well, which is
Yeah.
scaring some of the parents. So those are some of the
Yeah,
reasons,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
So what's you mentioned something in terms of Arabic and some Islamic activities. What further Islamic activities do you provide for your students?
So obviously they have a Friday enrichment where they have learning from a curriculum, Islamic curriculum.
Yeah.
Every day I run an assembly where we have Quran, and then I sort of tweak and ask them, what did you learn from this Quranic surah that we learned?
That's brilliant.
I try to help them to memorize the number of the surahs, and then I give them a quiz for it.
Nice.
And then also on a Friday morning, they've got a sheikh coming, which is so amazing. So they've got a one-to-one with sheikh. And I remember when they had Sheikh Muhammad Hilli, it was amazing, just for us, so they could ask questions.
Yeah.
And last week, one of the students asked a question that, why did God have to have angels to do all his job? He could do it himself. So some things that is really burning
Interesting.
questions they can ask the sheikh,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
so
They
cool.
don't. Yeah, they don't usually have access to
No,
these schools,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
I think from an identity perspective and a sense of belonging, what we've seen, excuse me, in traditional schools is that parents don't really know what happens in their kids, students,
Yeah.
their learning life, because when they send them off at 9 o'clock or
Yeah.
8:30 and then pick them up at 4 o'clock, they have little to no idea what goes on, what kind of conversations are happening, what kind of discussions, who they're befriending. And it's sometimes a mystery as to what goes on between these 6 hours. So I think it's fantastic to hear that you, as a parent, are able to pop in and out of the room every now and then to see what kind of discussion is happening and then go back. Having that peace of mind, knowing exactly who your kids are befriending, knowing exactly what kind of discussions they're having, and having a sheikh on a Friday is fantastic. You can ask them any question that you want, and it gives them that sense of belonging. And you're right in saying that the madrasas or the Husseinias or the mosques supplement this amazingly well, because they get their normal traditional education in the daytime, but then they have that sense of belonging in the mosques as well, right? So moving on, I think in terms of the technology that's associated with online schooling, again, sometimes that could be a burden on parents. What steps does Jaffaria Academy or maybe other online schools have in order to be more inclusive?
So obviously, most houses today have Wi-Fi. That's one reason, and you need either a laptop or an iPad.
Yeah.
I know in the past some of the students from Africa weren't able to get it, so the Jaffrey said that maybe we can collect some money and give them a laptop. So the
Yeah.
only two things they need is, and maybe a writing book, but basically where technology is concerned, they just need a laptop and a good Wi-Fi. And that's as simple as that. And Jafra Academy has a beautiful platform where I can upload all my PowerPoints, all the worksheets, any
Mm,
resources they need. They can access it on from the platform, and they just have
mm.
to click into the lesson and they are in there. So really,
Wow.
technology wise, there is not so much. It's not rocket science.
Right, right. So is there possibly in the future an overdependence on technology and probably an excessive screen time in online schools?
It could be possible, but that's where we are going. One of the students told me, you know what? I know some friends who go to a normal school. They come back and they're on the screen all, after school. And
Yeah.
even in schools, more and more are using technology and computers and things. So yes, there is that concern, but we try in between. We give them 15 minutes break to come out of there.
Yeah.
A lot of them have blue screens so that that they don't get that much of the
Radiation.
light affecting them. I try and tell them also that sometimes in the assembly I'll say go and bring something beginning with R and Q and things like that, so they're moving around and not on the screen a lot. Also, we are encouraging them to use exercise books to write rather than type. So we are
Okay.
having exam week this week, and they said, we had a great debate the other day in class where should we write or should we type? And I said, no, write. And they said, no, type.
Okay.
So I
So,
said, we'll have a proper debate.
so how does that work then when it comes to examinations? They have to do everything online, right?
No, the exam they're going to be doing are they write it. So they write it on, so they print their paper and they write it on there. Then they
Yeah.
take a PDF or a picture of it and then they upload it.
Ah, I see. And how
So
is it
it's quite
monitored?
cool.
How is it monitored then?
So, we are a Shia school, and I tell them that Allah is watching.
Okay.
So it
So
gives them
yeah.
autonomy for their honesty as well, really. Today,
To
you
be
can't all
honest,
have a
yeah.
policeman all the time.
No, I was going to say, to be honest, in a way, you do have a point, because when you're constantly monitored and you're constantly, told do this, do that, do this, do that, you're not shaped, but like you're conditioned. You're conditioned to
Yes,
be a
yes,
certain way where you're very subservient and you're trying to stay within the guidelines, and you know that these are the boundaries, and if you overstep this boundary then there's going to be consequences. However, if you leave it to them, then they come to the realization themselves that this is right and this is wrong, and that maybe
yeah,
does teach them skills when it comes into the real world, that they're able to monitor themselves rather than being
yes,
monitored all the time.
absolutely. And if they copy from the internet, I just give them a polite nudge and say, I think this might have been from the internet. Is that right?
Okay, so actually, on that point, Sister Nikhat, Chat GPT and other AI,
Yeah.
technology, how does that then affect your teaching?
Yeah, that is quite challenging, especially in English, because they can put in things and write. So that is a big challenge, I think, for any school or any learning for that matter. It's not an online challenge anyway. But yes, the other day the students are telling me that they've got a program where they can put in some words and it creates a rhyming poem for them. So I said, then where does your creativity go? And they said, actually, you have to be creative. You've got to put in the bits and then it does it for you. So yes,
Wow.
it's a challenge and we'll have to see where it takes us really.
Inshallah, inshallah.
This
Look,
week.
lastly, Sister Nikhat, I wanted to, I guess, give you a couple of minutes to be able to send a message to those parents who are listening out there who have concerns over RSC situations, have concerns over mental health of their kids, have concerns over identity and a sense of belonging. What would what would you advise them when it comes to these kind of concerns and the benefits of online schooling?
Yes, so obviously we don't want to be put them in a melting pot where they all melt and they don't know who they are anymore. And
Yeah,
this is a great problem with a lot of students these days, that the identity, and there is this peer pressure as well, that you want to be fitting in. So ultimately, while building a confident Muslim, we are preparing them to have a robust outlook of life, which is the biggest and best preparation. So we
yeah,
don't want them to be out there and try to emulate somebody that we don't want them to be. So
yeah,
I think being in an online school, we also have well-being sessions, which some of us run, where we give them understanding of themselves, personal development, how to sort of try and do good revision for exams.
yeah,
They have so much of group work. They're together with their Shia friends. You
yeah.
know what? There is so many benefit in being together like that. And every morning, enlightening our hearts with Quran. What better thing
That's
can we
amazing.
do, right?
That
For our
really is
for our
amazing.
for our well-being, and to
Yeah,
have teachers that really care. I really believe that all the teachers in Jaffaria really care for their students, and that's a really good place to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very clear in, as I mentioned, your energy and your passion, your care and devotion. You can see it. I could literally see it the first moment you spoke. So I really believe that the kids are in safe hands. Sister Nikhat, I want to ask which, if you wanted to answer, which mosque you frequent.
So I live in Birmingham.
Oh, do
So I go
you?
to the cliff. Yeah, so I
Oh,
was right with you that day when you were here. I was with the kids there, sitting right under you while you was reciting that day.
oh,
So
you didn't. Why didn't you say hello? I would have probably known you now.
you wouldn't have known me then, though.
No,
So
I know, but okay. Yeah,
yes,
well, look, inshallah, next
yeah.
time
But
I'm in Birmingham. Yeah.
yeah, inshallah, I know you come here quite often, and I'm part of the CTC. We help out there, and I was with all the kids, and you did a great job anyway.
Oh, you're part of the
So yes,
CTC
that's
as
quite good.
well. Fantastic, fantastic.
So
Well, look,
Alhamdulillah.
really, really appreciate your time, Sister Nikhat, and I wish you all the best. And if there's anything that we can do from the channel's perspective or Morning Barakah to
Thank you.
help, we're more than happy to lend a hand. And I wish you all the
That's
best. Thank you so much for your time.
right. Thank you so much. In fact, my last word is that my students want to come and speak to you. So inshallah, maybe you can get them online one day. Okay.
I would love to
Masalam.
do a Friday session with them. Why not?
Masalam.
Let's do
Masalam.
it.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Ma'asalam. All the best. Right. That was Sister Nikhat of Jaffaria Academy. And to be honest, if the school employs people like Sister Nikhat, then I think they are in very, very safe hands. So.